Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description.
So let me read you a little something, and then we'll talk about it. So I'm checking out this one of these books by Frater UD, right? And it's a practical exercise. It says, experience everything in the world and everything in the entire world as a living being. This is an ancient principle of magic that forms the basis of the spirit model. Set a specific time span for this exercise, for example, 1 day. But I'd love to see someone do this for an entire day. During this time, live according to the paradigm that everything around you is alive and has a soul and behave accordingly. For example, talk to your kitchen table, get distracted by an electrical outlet, argue with your washing machine. I've done that. Hold a conversation with your bed, and so on. Psychology calls this animistic regression, or a return to a more primitive state. But you should already know from your study of sigil magic and shamanism that such regressive behavior can be a great source of magical power. To try to perform this exercise with no intentions or expectations, and avoid looking for a meaning or purpose. When you're finished with the exercise, make notes about the experience in your Book of Shadows, yada yada. But don't evaluate anything. Just observe and take notes. So this was on the tail end of a chapter on demonology, where it talks about evocation and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, why did he put this in here? And what can we draw from this practical exercise? So when we're working with evocation and magic in general, and we're working with spirits and stuff where, like, I can't see a spirit in the same way that I could see my cat walk across the room here. But we have to have this, like, suspension of belief where when we evoke a spirit, even if we don't see their presence or feel their presence, we go with the idea that they are there, because they could be there, they just might not be visible to us, or we might not be able to sense them. But when we invoke something, we go with the idea that they are there. And this whole thing of the animistic regression can go along with being able to, like, train your mind to talk with things that you don't normally talk to. So when you do an invocation or something, and all you have is a sigil, or you have a statue that represents a part, an aspect of the spirit that you're invoking, or it might be the actual, like, depiction of the spirit that you're invoking, and you can communicate with it, and therefore you can communicate with this statue or sigil or what have you, and therefore communicate with the spirit, because when we invoke that spirit, we are intending that the connection is made. And then when we, say what our desire is and what the deal we're willing to make and yada yada, we want to believe in that, right? So having this practice of arguing with your dishwasher, or talking, or getting distracted by a light switch, or have a conversation with your bed, or what have you, trains your mind to feel that it's less weird, right? Because if this is the only time that you do this kind of thing in ritual, you're going to be too much in your logical mind about it. Man, I'm talking to a piece of paper, or, I'm talking to, like, an acrylic statue, or, I'm talking to some scribbles of marker that I put on an index card, right? Doesn't that seem kind of weird? The more that you practice this kind of thing with the animistic regression of arguing with your dishwasher, let's say, the more that comfortable you get with it. And then when you go into ritual and you're doing it, or you invoke something and you don't really have a target to talk to, but you're talking to that spirit, your brain's not going to think it's so weird anymore, is it? And therefore, it's going to buy into that idea more, and then you're not going to have, your energy is going to be more direct and less, like, distracted and whatnot. So I thought this was pretty interesting, which is why I decided to make a video on it. And let me know what you guys think about this one. Good hunting.